Hey, what's up dudes? My name is Peroz. Welcome back to our more tutorials and things. Today we're going to be learning how to do the scope overlay effect. So the scope overlay effect is a really good effect. It's super versatile and there are so many ways of doing it, and it's sort of overused, but it's such a good effect that it doesn't really matter that it's overused. So this is something you're going to want to use, like I used your mum. Nah, I'm leaving. Alright boys, so the scope overlay effect, really great, like a sort of a versatile effect that is really well loved and well used. I would say it's overused, but it's such a good effect that even though it's like overused a lot, that like it just doesn't matter. It's just such a good effect. And there are so many different ways you can go about it. Yeah, pretty sweet, pretty sweet. Nothing like getting a little bit creative and shit. I am sick, so you're gonna have to just bear with me a little bit if I start to fucking just yap for a little bit. Alright, so here I've got a clip from Jedzi from a recent montage I did, and I've got my cinematics. So just go over a couple things real quick. So we'll go for the scope. How do I get the scope? So this particular one is just me in game aiming at the sky, and then taking a screenshot. I have hardcore on, so I don't have like the overlay, and I don't have all the scopes for every Call of Duty because I just sort of make them as I need them. But whatever I do have, I'll put it in the description just to make it a little bit easier for you. But if you need a scope like overlay, you know, you can use the tools and things to like apply the green screen and such, like for example Modern Warfare 2 IW4X. Yeah, just turn on the green screen and aim in and take a screenshot, you'll be good to go. But for newer CODs or, you know, any other CODs without tools, you just look at the sky or look at something with like a really plain color, like if there's like a red wall or something like that, and just go take a screenshot of you aiming in, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And then we just chroma key or key light this out. And so another thing I want to quickly mention is on older CODs, we have this called like the 2D scope. So it's basically just like, you know, a picture of the scope overlaying your screen. And the newer CODs have like the 3D scope where it's all black, and that is a little bit more difficult to work with. You have to like scale it in a lot more, the scope overlay, just to make it like look good. Alright, so we'll get into it. So we've got our scope overlay here. We'll just drag it on top of our cinematic like that. My composition is 1920 by 1080 and 24 FPS as always. We'll scale this down so it fits. So we've got our scope overlay, and we'll type up key light. Sorry, my camera's in the way. Key light, we'll drag that on. And we'll just grab the little screen color little dropper here, and we'll just click on the blue. If you don't get the perfect cutout, you can play with the screen matte down here and clip more black if needed. As you can see, it sort of fucks shit up, but it'd also help if you just put it anywhere from like 10 to 30. So I'm just gonna put this on like 5. So the blue screen here that we have is actually pretty decent. Alright, so now that we got our scope on, a few more really good pointers is that you want your cinematic to match what is happening in the clip as much as possible for the most part. The most popular time people use the scope effect is for like triple lineups, I would say, or even just like this exact situation here. We just have like one character, one actor. And it just goes bang. So the more accurate, the better it's going to look, because it's going to sort of match the clip and the continuity is going to be there. As you can see, you know, he's sort of walking left or right here, and that's what I have happening in the cinematic, same gun and everything. So it does look. Now onto the actual effect itself after those 1 million pointers. So big mistake I see a lot of people do when they're new to doing this effect is they have the scope come in like somewhere like here, and then that it's kind of just it just stays for too long. It doesn't look good. Like you almost want it to be a bit of a surprise that it's going to happen. At least that's what I think. So you don't want to have it in the cinematic for too long. So we're just going to shorten this to around about here, and I think that's good. And we're just going to chop it here. Control Shift D to chop it, and then delete the excess. So we have it come in for about this long. So I'm going to show you 2 ways that I like doing that I think, you know, look really good. And then there are a bunch of, you know, this effect has like no boundaries. You know, you can get really creative with it. You can do all sorts of transitions and things on this scope overlay to get it to look how you want it. Or yeah, the creativity like, you know, is through the roof with the scope effect, at least in my opinion. But I'm going to show you what I like doing. So there's the basic one. If you press S and then Shift T to open the scale and opacity, and we'll keyframe these. And we'll put the opacity on 0, and we'll just increase the scale to like 150. And then we'll go all the way to the end and go a few frames back, So a couple frames back like here, and then we'll go opacity 100, and then we'll go like 125 on the scale, something like that. So something like that can look really good, nice and basic, you know. So usually for me, I like to have my scope scaled in like quite a lot. So I'm gonna have it come into like here, and then we're gonna have it scaled to 200 at the start. So when it comes in, it goes just like that. Alright, so let's preview what this looks like. We'll go from here to like here. So obviously, you know, you would have a bit more of aggressive sync or twixter, because that's what's going to make it look good as well with more impact. But I think this is just fine. We can actually just make this a bit shorter if we wanted to, just like that. See, it's that easy to shorten it and just to like figure out what kind of speed you want. So that also looks good. I'll show you what it looks like when it's too long. So this is way too long, and this is what most of people's look like when they start out. So it actually doesn't look that bad, but yeah, usually they do make it quite long, and it's not that good. You want it to come in pretty fast here. So we'll go back to around here. And yeah, this is the most basic way to do it, in my opinion. And it looks great, you know, there's nothing wrong with this at all. Now, my personal favorite way to do this is we'll just reset the scale and the opacity. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a eclipse mask. So if you just go up here and you just hold left click and then let go on the eclipse tool. And then we just hold shift and we drag out like a little circle just like this. And we'll just position it like pretty much in the center, and it'll be super perfect. Alright, we'll open our mask here and we'll go 50 on the feather, and we will click invert, just a little tick right here. And then we will go mask expansion, and we will just go till everything disappears. There we go. So around over 1,000. You know, that's fine. And then we'll keyframe the start, and then we will come in all the way, and then we'll just go to 0. And we can even just go back 1 frame so we can actually see what the fuck we're doing. And we'll keep decreasing till the center of the scope overlay is actually all revealed. So this is one that I like doing. I think it looks really cool, especially with the 2D scopes, the Call of Duty old gen scopes. I think it looks really good with the black coming in like that. So we can even increase the feathering to be more like 100, just make sure that the whole scope is revealed there. We can also, you know, mix in a bit of scale with this, so we can go like 150 at the start, and then maybe like 100. So I think that is like probably one of the cleanest ways to do the scope effect. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, see, I think that looks fucking fantastic. But there are so many different ways that you can do this. So a quick recap is, you know, you got to make the scope by looking at the sky, or looking at, you know, something at a wall that's a particular color that you can key out. Like looking at this purple wall here with a scope would work just fine. Making sure that your cinematic is accurate, and, you know, because it's all about continuity, so it just sort of matches and it just flows really well, and it's really easy for people to understand when they're watching. You know, making sure that your cinematic is a little bit aggressive on the sync. Doesn't always need to be aggressive. You know, I'm sure you've seen multiple different variations of the scope effect, but most of all, just play around. Just play around. Just drag on some preset transitions and, you know, mess around. You'll be fine. Now, I know I've had a few people ask me about another transition I did on this particular clip in the montage that I actually made for Jedzi, and I'll be doing a separate tutorial on that one. That one is a little bit different. Same but different. I'll probably pop it up on the screen here so you guys can see. So that'll be next. Yeah, super nice, easygoing tutorial today, boys. I'm sick as balls, so I'm just gonna, you know, keep it straight to the point. I'm gonna go fucking lie down and die next to your mother. But I'll see you in 2 weeks for the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed something. Make sure you comment. Let me know what you're making. Show me what you're making, and we'll yeah, see you guys in a couple weeks.